Hello, online
Ooh.
crew. I'm so excited to be live here with you today with this wonderful man on my, whether left or right, whatever it's appearing for you, Mr. Ferny Ceballos. How are you, Ferny?
I'm good. You're on my left. Oh, wait.
I'm on
Oh,
your left. Yeah, you're on my right.
this is my left on screen, but that's my right. So yeah, very
All
confusing.
good. I would like to introduce, if you don't know who this man is a very good friend and mentor of mine, has been for a number of years. We call him the Godfather of Attraction Marketing. Back in the day, a number of years ago, where I didn't know much about building a business online, even the industry of network marketing itself, or anything about attraction marketing, building a brand, or any of those kind of things. I invested in a program which Ferny was leading and stayed for a number of years. Well, we still work together, basically because he's always someone I'll keep close. He's been a very important mentor in my life. So, if you're building a business online and you know this term attraction marketing, you know that it's probably the way that you want to build to attract people to you online, but you're not really sure how to do it or what's involved with it or how it can really work for you in 2023, this is the guy you need to know. So Ferny and I go way back. Well, when I say way back, it's only about 5 years, but Ferny has been instrumental in my learning journey, in pulling me up when I need to be pulled up, helping me see things that I can't see, sometimes believing in me more than I've believed in myself. Or, when I make a comment and he's like, hey, you're not talking like that. Like there's one particular one I'll remember when I made a lot of money in a particular month. And my comment to Ferny, straight off the top of my head, was, well, that I think I said something like, well, that was a fluke. That'll probably never happen again. And he's like, what do you mean? Now you've done it once, you've proven that you can do it. Let's do it again and again and again and again. Like sometimes you need people in your corner to guide you in the right path. And that's, who Ferny has been for me. So who here knows Ferny, have heard of Ferny? I'd love to hear in the comments whether you know who Ferny is, because if you don't, you will now, because he literally is the godfather of attraction marketing. And I'd just like to, thank you for giving up your time to spend it with my audience here in our online crew, Ferny. And Ferny, I'd like Ferny to share a little bit about his journey with you, but he's also got something really special to offer you guys, which is not being offered to everybody. It's just through referral base. So we'll get to that shortly. But Ferny, for those of you that don't know much about you, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, thank you. I am honored and always super happy to be here with you, Helen, or do anything with you, Helen. You're just one of the most genuine, caring, authentic people in this profession, and I truly mean that. And I just, I remember uh, when we first met in person, it was well, we probably met in person before that. You actually came to the US before that, but at that point, you were just, another face in the crowd, so to speak, at an event. But then when I met you in person at a workshop, um, and it just, I remember vividly the look in your eye when, we were interacting or asked questions, and it was very much like you seemed overwhelmed and you were just kind of getting started, but it's like at the same time, it's like I knew how much you cared. I knew how much like how how much you wanted it. And so it's awesome to see how you've gone from that person with like a deer in the headlights in that workshop in Australia to now doing as beautifully as you're doing and having this amazing community who love you, who follow you, who are loyal to you because you serve them so well. And that's very rare. That's very rare. And I think in the entire time that I've been coaching with you, you've never really focused on how much money you're making. You weren't money driven. You were very much impact and purpose driven. And so I just wanted your audience to know that, like the type of person that they follow is the most authentic person in the space.
Oh, thank you, Ferny. I
Yeah.
really
So,
appreciate that.
but you asked me a question about me. Okay, now let's
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
now let's make it about me. Okay, all right.
Yeah, tell
um,
us about you.
Well, for those of you who don't know who I am, I've been building network marketing businesses since 2005. That's when I got started in network marketing. Um, I was actually my background is aerospace engineering. I'm a MIT graduate. I got my degree in computer science and electrical engineering. And I was one of those nerd kids that did what he was told, did everything he's supposed to do, get good grades in school so you can go to college and get a good job. Well, I did it to the 10th degree. And yeah, I mean, at MIT, they definitely paint, given the institution that it is, they paint, they dream build. So that was the first time I ever was exposed to dream building and what's possible in someone's future. The issue is that coming out of MIT, you expect a lot of things, and you expect the world to be your oyster. And when I ended up getting a job in the aerospace industry, and within 2 days, I knew I was going to hate it, and that this was not what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And but what I appreciated about that experience of like having that dream built so big was like, man, like getting this job and being here and seeing the fat guy, balding fat guy down the hall, like that basically is gonna look like me in 40 years. Like that's not who I want to be. And so it caused me to not want to settle. Like I wasn't gonna settle for good enough, even though my entire family was like so proud of me and saying, like, I had a lot of respect. My warm market, I had a lot of credibility. So I definitely leveraged that in my early MLM days. Because of that. But inside I'm kind of like, silently, in pain, not physical pain, but just the lack of fulfillment, the lack of dream, there was just, this is it. This was what my future holds. Doing something I don't love for 8 hours a day, at least, maybe more. Driving, in traffic an hour and a half each way, total 3 hours every single day. That's 11 hours of my waking life per day wasted doing something I don't enjoy doing. Like that was just unacceptable to me. And so I went searching, and I couldn't find any way out. And then I went to USC grad school while I was working in aerospace, and a friend of mine who I met in grad school about a year later, he messaged me on AOL Instant Messenger, if you remember that. I don't know who remembers AOL Instant Messenger. Um, and so he invited me to a meeting with some engineers, from that he went to school with and that he knows, and they were going to talk about like a business plan or something like that. And I thought I was going to go there because he thought I'd be great, partner or contributor in some sort of tech startup, some Silicon Valley startup where we're going to get some VC capital and get rich. And it turned out there were definitely engineers at the meeting. Don't take me wrong, there were like a lot of engineers, but the leader of the group, when I got there, just started, drawing circles on a board, and and the circles were in the shape of this pyramid, and you get two who get two who get two type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I immediately, like, I was just like, oh, that's what this is. I mean, or I thought I knew what it was, and I definitely asked the question: is this one of those pyramid things? And just to be a jerk, because I was really mad. I was really upset that I got basically conned into attending this meeting. And after that meeting, I left, and um I was really bothered by the entire approach. At the same time, I was so driven to get out of my job that I sat and thought about it for basically 2 weeks. And I basically told myself, it's like, well, if this is even like remotely possible that I can achieve financial freedom, or at the very least get out of my job doing this, like if it's even a little bit possible, then I'm gonna give it a shot, because nothing else has been offered to me, and no one else that's been critical of network marketing MLM in my life has ever offered me an alternative which was suitable. And so I basically called up my potential sponsor and said, okay, let's move forward, after I'd ghosted him for 2 weeks and not said anything. and got signed up. And I'm one of those personalities that when I start something, I got to finish it. And so for about 9 months, I built the business the old school way. Told me to make a list of friends and family. I made the list. They wanted the list. I didn't want to give them the list. I kept the list. It was like, I
Yeah.
will reach out to them. You are not calling anybody. I told my upline. Um, and but I was pretty good. And like I said, I leveraged my credibility, like, because people had respect for what I had done up until that point. Um, but the problem is no one else could do that. And the people I enrolled, you know, have struggled. They couldn't duplicate what I could do. And I also had some, in addition to credibility, I had some skills that I had developed, and I didn't really even realize that I developed these skills, these sales skills, in my when I was at MIT, because I was in a fraternity. And in a fraternity, there's rush. And what rush means is basically it's a recruitment period for your fraternity to find, new members for your house. And they would literally give us a list to cold call of potential students or prospective students that were coming in to MIT for the first time. And before they would arrive at the campus as freshmen, we'd be cold calling people. And I was the only one that did it. All my other fraternity brothers slacked off and didn't do it. And so I ended up recruiting the most people into my fraternity single-handedly, because I was the only one willing to actually pick up the phone and call. And I developed some skills, like if their mom, picked up, like, I learned how to, like, create good relationships with their parents so that their parents would let them come to the fraternity. So I realized, like, I had developed some skills that I didn't realize at the time. And so people didn't have that background, and I didn't know how to train them in that, because it was just stuff that I figured out. And so pretty soon my business fell apart and no one can duplicate it. It was very frustrating, because no one was willing to do what I was willing to do. But part of the reason they weren't willing to do it, it's because they hated it as much as I did. And I hated what I needed to do to build the business. I hated the deception. I hated the cold prospecting and viewing people like a bullseye or a dollar sign. But I did it anyway because that's how you achieve your dream, supposedly. But other people weren't as motivated as I was. And so that created the issue. And so years later I realized, it's like, man, one of the secrets to duplication is, like, you got to be building in a way that people actually enjoy building. Like, if they don't enjoy the process of building the business, they're not going to build the business. And so it seems obvious now, but that's a key thing. And that's ultimately the reason, old school strategies, especially if they're deceptive, don't really work unless you have a leader who holds you accountable to doing things you don't want to do, or somehow they are gifted with the skill of NLP and motivation, so they can hypnotize you into doing things you don't want to do. Um, and there are leaders like that you're willing to walk through a brick wall, if they tell you, because they're that inspiring. And so I was pretty much ready to throw in the towel. I was searching online, then I found a website and it was just like this non-professional looking website that offered to teach a different way of building a network marketing business using attraction marketing. And talked about attracting, your ideal prospects, people that actually want to join your business, people that attract people that are ready to go, credit card in hand, ready to buy. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And again, it seems kind of like, is this real? Is this not? But it's like, I took the risk because like,
What do
what's
you got to lose?
yeah, what I got to lose? Like, is I'm already, like, failing in this business. So, like, there's even a small percentage that this might work, then I'm gonna give it a try. So I opted in, and then bought a book called Magnetic Sponsoring, and that book was written by my mentor, Mike Dillard. And it changed my life. It introduced me to a new way of building a network marketing business, any business for that matter, online, using what marketing nerds call direct response marketing principles.
Mhm.
and it was just it clicked for me as an engineer, because it was very process oriented. It was data driven. Like, there were, you talked about conversion rates, and then it was all online, so you can automate it, and build websites to do that. And it's like it was just speaking my language. It's like, okay, even if this is hard, I'd rather be working on building a website than prospecting people in the mall. you know, even if this takes a little longer. And this was before social media, so they weren't teaching yet how to use social media to do attraction marketing. It was all through advertising and funnels. And a funnel is just this, it's a very simple website for capturing people's information and then making an offer to them. And so it blew, like, I was just so hooked. I read that book multiple times, back to back, same sitting. Like, I read the book 3 times, back to back, without moving, without eating. It was that compelling. And I knew this is the way I was going to build. And 2 years later, that's exactly what happened. And I was able to quit my job as a result of the skills that I learned inside of magnetic sponsoring. And also there was another course. You can actually see it right here. It's the red binders right there.
Yep.
It was called MLM Traffic Formula, which is basically a manual on how to do attraction marketing back in the day, and everything you needed to learn. And Mike Dillard and his mentor Tim Irway were responsible for that manual. And at some point, Tim Irway became partners with Mike, and they joined forces. And we're off to the races within, a couple years of quitting my job. I ended up recruiting some pretty big heavy hitters in network marketing, 7-figure earners into my organization that, like, skyrocketed my passive income from network marketing. And I also was able to, build a training company. And that training company, I made some pretty good money selling courses. I had a pretty big launch. But I'd say the most significant achievement on the training side of it was an event called the No Excuses Summit. And it was the first event of its kind in 2010, where we gathered. Basically, I hosted an event along with my then business partner, and the speakers were Mike Dillard and Tim Irway's most successful students, in addition to some other people who were, very friendly to attraction marketing at the time, like Todd Falcone and some
Mhm.
leaders. And two, we made this deal. I don't know how, it's kind of crazy the things you do when you're like, you don't know any better. But we made a deal with the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas to put on this event. um and it was like, basically, from idea to actual event happening was like 2 months. And like, from idea to, like, us heading to Vegas a week later to meet with the Venetian people to sign an agreement with $1 billion company. When if this thing goes upside down, there's, I'm basically in trouble with $1 billion company.
Mhm.
um but it's like, I wasn't even thinking of the downside. I was thinking, like, this is gonna be awesome, big event, whatever. And we ended up selling 1,000 tickets. There were 1,000 people that attended, with 2 months notice, this event, and it was awesome. And that started. It was the only time, the only event of its kind where it was a generic training event for network marketers teaching attraction marketing. It was the biggest event of its kind. And we've continued that tradition of having the No Excuses Summit every single year. Many other people saw the success of what we were doing and started having their own events. Um, and in 2014, Mike Dillard stepped away from basically magnetic sponsoring. He wanted to get away from the network marketing space, and I was invited to become a business partner in the exact same company that I was a student in. And so that company eventually is now known as attractionmarketing.com. But it's essentially the same company. I'm partnered with Tim Irway, my mentor, Mike's mentor. And since 2014, we've been continuing this legacy of teaching network marketers a new way of building, becoming digital network marketers, enjoying the process of building, learning skills that no one can ever take away from you, even if you decide to leave network marketing and start another business. Well, you can take these skills and be successful in those businesses as well. And we've literally, helped over 1,000 people create six-figure incomes or bigger in the network marketing space and beyond. And so that's a little bit about my background. Was that too long?
Yeah, no, it's an incredible journey, and just like Ferny, he found something, just on a website or something like that. My journey was sort of quite similar with finding you.
Yeah.
I was building traditionally, and I had some success, but I was going backwards. I'm not sure if any of you can relate to this, but sometimes you go backwards faster than you go forwards in this industry with family and friends and things like that, because you just don't have the right leaders in your team. So I was going backwards faster than I was going forwards, and it's just like, I've got to find another way. And I had a couple of things that hurt along the way as well. Like, I'm from the corporate world, and I was very well respected in the
Hmm.
corporate world, still am, but I had people that would look at me and go, what are you doing that for? Or
Oh yeah.
just ghost me. And it's just like, man, we've worked together for years. Like, how are they suddenly just not replying to me anymore? And it's just like, I'm going to find another way. And hence where I am, like, today, talking to you sort of now, but you were a huge part of that journey. Is, I think, in this modern day and age, and this is what you teach in your community, and what I talk about all the time, is there are new improved ways to build this business of network marketing. We don't have to do those hard things that you did. We don't
Hmm.
have to draw circles on whiteboards and coach people into a meeting thinking they're coming from one reason and then they're there for another. Like, there are so many different things. And I know even in just the last few years, Ferny, from, whether it's Reels or it's TikTok, or, there's new things always coming out to help us, build our businesses online. And I know you have thousands of students that go through that. Yeah, maybe there's 1,000 that you've made six figures and beyond, but there's a hell of a lot more underneath that level that are earning more money than they did before by learning these,
Yeah.
strategies. So what's sort of some of the primary things that you teach your students about attraction marketing and how to build online?
Yeah, essentially, it's kind of like the three primary skills that we teach. There's a fourth skill too, and I'll share what that is. But three primary skills, because those are the most important skills in the beginning. The ability to the skill of attraction, and that is a skill. It's not only
Mhm.
something that happens, but it's a skill on how to attract the skill of influence and enrollment. And attraction is, there's various strategies for attracting people. There's active building, leverage building, and automated building. And so active form of attraction is just social engagement. Just connect with people on social media and add value to them, and do it in a target market, in a niche. Because then that the people you're engaging with, very likely, high probability, they can they need or want or may want what you already have, starting with just your products, because that's the most duplicatable. It's a low commitment. You're not asking them to commit to a business. And when you do that, when you engage on social media, that engagement, whether it's commenting, being a part of a community, and supporting people and helping them, back and forth through Messenger, and creating those relationships. And you're not doing those things. You're not doing those activities with the ulterior motive of trying to recruit people. You're literally just there to serve this community of people that you are in a position to serve because of what you know, and then also what you can eventually offer them. And so that's active. It's time intensive, and you can build influence that way as well, and enroll. But then there's leveraged, and leverage is the equivalent of content marketing. And so back in the day, when I was building, we had content marketing. We had like SEO. YouTube was around back then, so we can publish videos on YouTube. We had something called article marketing, where we can publish articles and people will find our articles through the search engines, and then, find us. And so it's just about publishing content that then, people, it connects with your target market, and it draws them in, and they end up subscribing to your email list, and finding you through content. today content marketing is now way more fun than it was when I was doing it, because now it includes things like TikTok and Reels, and on Reels on two different platforms, and then there's Shorts. And so this micro video, content marketing that is so powerful, because it's more of a short-term strategy for attracting people. So you got to, instead of investing your time engaging with people, you're investing your time creating content that attracts people,
Mhm.
and attracts a following, and then that content can be used to influence. So it's the one to many. You create one piece of content, and you impact or influence multiple people. And influence, what I mean by influence, is basically demonstrate to people you can help them by actually helping them. It's kind of like what we're doing here, where this is a different form of content marketing that's live, and people will watch a recording where we're sharing some ideas and concepts that hopefully add value to their lives. And so that's leverage building, and you can do that for attraction, you could do it for influence, and you can even do it for enrollment. As you guys will see, we're gonna talk about a cool event that we're doing next weekend, that we're inviting you guys for like almost nothing for the value that you're gonna get. And so that, what is that? That's basically, leverage enrollment. Like I say it once, but multiple people hear the offer and want to like jump on that. And then there's automated. And that's my favorite part, because it doesn't require me to create, it not only requires me to create content once and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And so there's multiple forms of advertising for doing that. My favorite is Facebook ads, but there's also YouTube ads. We have students who do YouTube ads, TikTok ads, Google ads, and people think that that stuff is super expensive, but um, the simplest form of advertising would be, let's say you were doing this live, Helen, and you were doing it on a business page.
Mhm.
And if you were doing that, then you can spend like $1 a day promoting the live to a new audience that has never seen your stuff, and that's a form of advertising your content, so that people can see it like, oh wow, this is interesting. This Ferny guy and this Helen woman seem to know what they're talking about. So I'm gonna see what else they got going on. And that's, that creates a more automated attraction. And it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, you can even, what we teach our students eventually, to learn how to not only advertise, but advertise in a way that you're doing it for free, or even getting paid to advertise, if you know how to do it properly. And then also how to build influence and enroll in an automated way. Like right now, as I speak, there's leads and sales happening somewhere in my business, and they're going through a process that, many times I hop on a call with a student of mine that's enrolled in one of our programs, that's been enrolled for a few weeks, and they get to talk to me as part of a bonus to get a coaching call. And they're like, who, like Ferny, I feel like I already know you. I'm like, I'm just meeting you.
Mhm.
And that's the beautiful thing about attraction marketing, is that you can build influence and have that type of effect, so that when a prospect hops on the phone with you for the first time, they know you more than you know them. They're like, genuinely excited to be hopping on the phone with you. And that's the difference between old school and what we do. When I was building my business and using attraction marketing, people had to apply to join my team, and the application had a $50 fee to it.
Really?
And so people paid $50 just to apply to join my team, which is
Wow.
completely different than how I was doing it the year before. And so that's the power of attraction marketing, is that people are so gung-ho about wanting to, like, I hope he picks me type of situation, that they're willing to pay to find what's on the other side, and have that conversation. And so it's just a different approach. And with probably attraction alone, and that's one of the events we're doing next week. The entire event is focused on attraction, like all different types of attraction strategies. And we teach 12 different ways to attract people into your business. 12 different ways. Some of them have to do with social media, and some of them don't. Some of them require more time on social media, some of them require a little bit of time on social media. And so depending on your personality, depending on we all have a love-hate relationship with social media. It got really toxic during the pandemic, and for that reason, like I try to spend as little time on social media. The only time I spend on social media is doing things like this or engaging with my community, and that's pretty much it. And so if you look at my organic, activity, it's terrible, but I don't need to do it because I know I've already mastered the art
Right,
of
influence.
automated attraction marketing. But there was a time when I did do that. I did a lot of social engagement. I was the number one influencer on a social network that doesn't exist anymore. Um, and I engaged in that social network for two years, hardcore. Even when I was work, I was on my computer. Like there was no phone, there was no iPhone. I was on my computer, like think of it like working on top secret programs, and you sneak away to like hop on the
Yeah,
social network to interact with
yeah, yeah,
other people. So that's what attraction marketing, I think, probably maybe is for some people the hardest part. Is it can be overwhelming because there's so many options now, which is a good thing, but also can be a negative thing if you're new. And that's the benefit of having a mentor like Helen, or being a part of a community, is they can guide you. And with this event that's coming up, you have the option to basically explore all different ways of attracting somebody and find something that fits your personality: introvert, extrovert, heavy on social media, light on social media, zero social media, whatever you prefer. There's something for everybody, and I think there's no better time to be doing attraction marketing than today.
yeah. I think there's so many valid points in what you just shared there, Ferny. And I know some of you listening, like, how many of you just comment in? How many of you feel overwhelmed by social media sometimes and everything that you need to learn, and the obligation that you feel to show up all the time? I mean, there's no question that as you're building a business, from the ground up, yeah, there are sacrifices in the beginning. You have to earn your
Mhm.
stripes like you did, Ferny. But I think the beautiful thing, so it's almost the biggest advantage. It can be a downfall sometimes because it can be
Mhm.
overwhelming for a lot of people. But the choices that you have now, which didn't exist in previous years, like you could choose a platform of your choice, you could choose a particular strategy of your choice. There is so much to offer with different attraction marketing strategies. Like, you learn them, choose one and stay in that lane, get some traction there, and then you can grow from there. And then you can grow into things like paid strategies and all the automation. I mean, can you imagine, like, Fernie's made multiple $1 million online, and he's just told you that he spends very little time on social media. How many of you would like a piece of that
Yeah.
somewhere,
Mm.
in the future?
In fact, I was bragging. I did a post on my personal profile where I took a screenshot of my newsfeed after I had installed this plugin that causes your Facebook newsfeed to disappear. And instead of seeing your newsfeed, it just shows you a motivational quote. And so basically it turns my Facebook account into an app for just my group, like the groups of the students that we serve in our community. Like that's the
Mhm.
only reason I log on to Facebook on my computer here. I can't see what's happening in my news feed, but I can go to the groups and see what's happening there. And so it restricts it from having any distractions, and I'm only there to basically do business essentially, or to support our students, and that's it. Like the only time I get to like actually look at my news feed is on my phone later in the evening when everything's done.
Yeah,
And so that's how, like, you know how much I'm even like guarding, shielding against a
yeah,
social media. um and again, if I was starting off, I probably wouldn't be doing that. I'd probably be like wanting to learn as much as I can from other people. But
yeah,
I'm at a point where I don't need to do that. But I mean, again, one of the organic strategies that I used when I first got started was, like I said, article marketing. It
mhm,
would write writing an article, a quality article, can take a few hours. Now you can get way more exposure and way more traction with a 15-second video. Like
yeah,
it's just like the opportunity is, there's no such thing as free. It's always your time. And even
yeah,
though it's a 15-second video, it took you, I put together some TikToks and some reels, and it's taken me between 30 minutes to an hour to put together that 15-second video. But still, that's way less time than it took me to write an article with better results.
Yeah, and I mean these days you can go to something like Chat GPT and it writes the article for you. Like the tools that are out there for us to utilize are just incredible. So
Mm.
tell us about more about this event next weekend, Ferny. What does it entail? What are you teaching? What have you got on offer for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So let me first show you. So do you mind kind of blowing me up, making me most of the screen?
Sure.
Are
Now
you
is
able
this
to do?
blow up you or me?
Oh,
No,
that's
that's
you.
hang on. How do I get you? No,
Just
that's still me.
so grab my picture and drag me to where you are with the mouse. Just drag me. There you go. All right, there
There
we
you
go. All right, so because now I got this fancy switchboard here where I
go.
can
Oh,
uh
then he's got all the fancy tech stuff.
but now I can do this. So this is the
Wow.
website. We're going to direct you to this website in just a moment. We have an event called the Attract Influence and Enroll Summit, and this event's already happened once, and so we're doing it again. Helen is one of the first instructors on the first day of the event, and she's teaching everything you need to know about Facebook curiosity posting. So we were talking about content marketing and drawing and attracting people to you. And so she spends an entire lesson session on curiosity posting. And so this event, we already had it. We're doing it again. It's going to be April 14th to the 16th. So next weekend, and in terms of the schedule, you can just click on schedule and it takes you right to the schedule. It starts at 3 o'clock Pacific, and goes for about 4 hours until 7 o'clock Pacific. So Eastern time, that's starts at 6 o'clock Eastern in the Friday evening. And then on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, it starts. We go for most of the day until 8 o'clock Eastern Pacific. It's just 3 hours earlier. And then a half day on Sunday, 11 a.m. to probably 6 p.m. is probably, it's probably going to end earlier than that. It'll be probably more like 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's the schedule. So it's basically 2 half days that sandwich a full day in the middle. And in terms of who's training and speaking, so these are the amazing people that are training and speaking. You see the beautiful and super super smart Helen Martin right there in the middle on curiosity posting. And I will be teaching on automated strategies. So if automation and passive lead, attraction is something you want to do, I will be teaching a couple lessons on that. We got Beck Sadek, who's a seven-figure in network marketing, teaching on Facebook Reels. Jessica Davis teaching on everything you need to know about Instagram and Facebook, and viewing it like a marketer from a funnel standpoint. We have Vincenzo, who's going to teach both YouTube organic strategies as well as YouTube ads. Mike and Carla on TikTok. Um, Sarah Lynn Kate on finding your perfect prospect. Essentially, it's on how to develop your niche, how to define your niche. Facebook ads for recruiting, search engine marketing by Matt Zabadil. Michael Angel Martin's doing the Facebook ads for recruiting. And you see Jen Goodall. This is a very special session. Jen Goodall is teaching her warm market social launch strategy, which is basically how you launch a new business builder. So when you recruit, how you can get them to immediately start making money within 2 weeks of starting the business. So how do you launch them using social media posting strategy? And also you can do this for yourself. So how do you yourself relaunch your business, um, so that you can get immediate results within 14 days of starting your business, and also for a new business builder. So that's what ultimately is creates massive duplication. And so that's what's being covered at the event. And the entire event, just to get your tickets, $97. That you could just go to attractionmarketing.com/Helen. So Helen, do you want to update that? You just need to do /Helen. That might be easier for them to instead of typing in that entire thing. And so for $97, you can attend the entire event and be a part of the basically 3 days, but the first day and the third day are kind of half days. And we got some bonuses too. Um, if you enroll by in the next 20 minutes, if you decide you want to attend this event and make that commitment for $97, I will invite you to a private group mastermind that I'm doing in a private Facebook, not a Facebook, a Zoom channel on Friday. So this Friday, I do group coaching for some of the people that are attending the event. And so this is not available to everybody. In fact, this bonus is already expired, but I'm making this available for you guys if you basically enroll with Helen, and not only enroll for the event, but you can actually for the next 2 weeks be in private group coaching with me. We got some workshops that you'll get the replay for creating a video studio, kind of like what I've done here, able to do this type of thing here. Well, I'll actually show you how I do that cool thing. Effortless content multiplication, how to repurpose your content using some tools I use. Effortless content publishing, syndicating and publishing your content, and then a webinar, a workshop on creating automated systems for your network marketing business. And also, you'll get the replay for a 3-day organic YouTube channel build out and content creation workshop that was led by JT DeBolt. In fact, that happened this past weekend, but we got the replay, and all of that will be bonuses if you decide you want to attend this event. But you just gotta. The only caveat is for the group coaching, you gotta basically decide by the end of the hour. And for everything else, those bonuses expire tomorrow at midnight. And again, this is an exclusive page just for Helen, for her community. Other people who have seen this offer, they've already lost out on the bonuses. So you guys are kind of getting a little special treat. So you're getting all that value for $97. And here's a comment that I heard from one of our attendees that attended the event the first time, is the one session with Vincenzo on organic YouTube strategies. He said, I paid $6,500 for a coaching program, and in this hour with you, Vincenzo, I've learned more at this hour than I learned the entire coaching program that I had paid for $6,500. So that is just one session. That's a comment that I got just from one session alone. And so, obviously, attraction marketing is about leading with value and creating an irresistible offer. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're just leading with as much value as we can so that you can, it's not so much that you're going to learn everything and master 12 different strategies for attraction, is so that you can understand what your options are, and the topics that you really want to like lean into and learn, because it like, hey, that speaks to my soul. That's my jam right there. Well, then you can really listen in very intently on those sessions. And maybe the other sessions, you don't have to think as hard, because maybe it's not a strategy you're going to want to deploy, or maybe you already know it really well because you've learned so much here from Helen. So, but I think this is probably the only opportunity you can have in this industry to explore what your options are, so that you can choose what your direction is going to be for attracting prospects to you.
Yeah. $97 for, I know it's an investment, yes, but it is the best investment to get that much content for that kind of price. Did you see those speakers and those topics and the platforms that they're covering? From Reels to Instagram to Facebook to, a launching system to automation to, TikTok, like all of it, for you to be able to get all of that and all that hours worth of content. So yeah, for some of you, it might lead you to overwhelm, but it's a choice that you can make. You can listen to those trainings and go, okay, I want to stay in this lane, or I want to learn a little bit more about that, or yep, that's my jam, but I'm not ready for that yet. Like, it gives you choices to learn for $97 to get all that content. Like, it's a phenomenal offer, Ferny, and all the bonuses that come along with it. Yes, I was one of the speakers, but I sat around before and after and listened to the other speakers, and I'm still so much a student. When Ferny invites me to participate in these things, I learn so much from all the other speakers by being involved in an event like that, because you can never learn it all. And
Absolutely.
It's moving fast these days, social media. So this is all the up-to-date kind of strategies that the leaders are using that are working.
Yeah, and I'd say also that the benefit of a live event is it allows you to, attending a live event is a higher state of learning, because you're tuned in live. You've set aside the time to do that. It gives you basically the ability to consume and go through more content than you probably would go through in 3 months yourself if you just were watching recordings or trainings on your own. A live event is a different experience that heightens your ability to learn. And for that reason, that's the reason we do it live. It's an encore of a previous event, but we do it live because we find that's the best way people learn. And it'd be the equivalent of the same learning they would do on their own if they were watching recordings or going through courses that they would do over 3 months if they actually, put in the work. And so I've honestly, aside from a live event, I've never, it's very hard for me to consume, you know, uh, 15 hours of content, that in a course or any type of program. But when it's a live event, it's super easy because you're there with other people. You're part of a community. You're supporting each other. You're most importantly away from you're it's like you're in a bubble away from all the negativity that might surround you. Like if you have a spouse that's not supportive, or if you just have family members that aren't supportive, or if you feel ever like you're alone in doing and building this business, well, it gives you the opportunity to be a part of a community for a weekend. And because everyone's moving in the same direction, everyone's kind of, has the same focus and energy, that literally it increases your ability to learn and have the stuff actually stick.
Mm. So it is online, to clarify that question, but it's kind of like a live event online at those times that Fernie's already mentioned. And you get all the information once you go to the link about when it is and the timing of it. So it's kind of a live event, but it is online.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So it's a virtual live event, not in person. We're not
yeah.
asking you to travel anywhere, but you do want to, set aside the time to focus and make whatever arrangements you need to make with your family and your kids, to make sure you can soak it all in. I'd say if you're brand new, the most important part of the event is actually the first day. There's three trainers, and that those three lessons are on the fundamentals, the most important skill sets you can learn for starting to build your business online. And one of those trainers is Helen. What she taught on curiosity posting is an essential skill. You got to be able to create curiosity through content in different ways and attract people, and get people to raise their hand and say, "Yeah, I'm interested. I want to know more about what you're doing." I mean, that's if you're afraid of inviting somebody, if you're like a little shy about having those direct conversations, well, then curiosity posting is going to be your jam. And then the other lessons that were done on Friday, like every network marketer, I believe, should know. And then, as we get into the weekend, we learn more cool advanced stuff with TikTok and Reels, and then eventually into YouTube and more advanced, automated strategies. And it allows you to explore, and it also allows you to set goals. You're like, all right, well, I'm just getting started, so I'm probably not going to do advertising anytime soon, but I want to, when you're working with your mentor, you want to go, okay, but I want to work towards that. So in 6 months I want to be doing that. So how does that happen? And if you're working in any part of any community or with your mentor, then you can kind of set goals on how you want to operate your business, not today, but maybe 6 months from now or a year from now.
Mm. Thank you so much, Fernie. And please, if you're still watching live, if you can please thank Fernie for his very precious time. He's a very busy man. So to come here and share this information and just have a chat with us here in the online crew, I just really, really appreciate you, Fernie, everything that you do, everything you've helped me with. And this is an opportunity for you guys to grab a very low investment, but a lot of training and a lot of different platforms and strategies that could really help your business grow. So, well, just attractionmarketing.com/Helen. Go and
Mhm.
grab your tickets and clear your diaries for next weekend. So thank you. All the thank yous are pouring in, Fernie, in the comments. But
I appreciate it.
thank you so much, Fernie. Appreciate you as a friend and a mentor and everything that you continue to help me with. It's always a pleasure to have you in our community as well. So thank you
Of
so much.
of course. Well, it's my pleasure, guys. And the beautiful thing about this event, I'll say one last thing, is that it's not the Fernie show. I do basically do two trainings the entire event. It's our students. It's our most successful students, 6, 7 figure earners in network marketing, who have built their businesses using digital strategies, and they all do it a little differently. They all have their superpowers, and you get to benefit from that collective. There's a lot of other training and trainers out there that where their programs is just them by themselves and their philosophy. We're a collective here that where we're pulling from multiple talents, and I'm just super grateful to Helen that you were one of the trainers, and for as long as you'll allow us, you'll continue to be trainers at our events and in our programs, because our students love you.
Oh, it's my privilege to be able to do that for you. I yeah, love it.
Awesome. All right, now we're gonna try. Gotta go.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you so much, Ferny, again, for all your wisdom and sharing this beautiful opportunity with our audience. So we'll catch you soon, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.